Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to FM24 Youth Factory. This is episode number 30. We're going to try to navigate the off-season quickly and hopefully be able to get into the new season within this episode. That's my goal. We'll see if I can stick to that. But that's for our feedback on the last year and our upcoming seasons. This is our club vision and expectation meeting. For the first time in many years, they're actually satisfied with the development of players using the club's youth system for whatever reason, even though we've literally done nothing but use our youth for the entirety of this. And we've had new young players come in each and every season and get playing time each and every season. And the players that we have, other than a few of our longest serving veterans, they're still literally all young players. They should all still be counting. It's been very anti for that one, but this year they're satisfied about the use of young players, but they're delighted with our high tempo pressing. We have some new attacking possession and entertaining requirements that are entering this year. And then we also have some actionable objectives working within the payroll, grow the club's reputation. We did that quite well this year by winning the league, even if we failed horribly, but we failed forward in that one. They want us to maintain Skybet League 2's best youth system. That, of course, will be easily done. Maximum of 1-year contracts for players over 34. We don't have any players over 25, I think. I think our oldest is about 24, 25 now. Our 5-year plan. They want us to have the best youth system in the country and in the world, which I think we do. We should get credit for that. But they want us to reach Skybet League 2 playoffs. That's the goal for the coming season, is to reach the playoffs. I think we've finally climbed the ladder high enough that the board is no longer concerned, or maybe that's new ownership, but whatever the case may be, we're finally able to progress on our coaching badges, and we are going from a National B to a National A. We went through years and years of request, deny, request, deny, request, deny, request, deny. And usually the reasoning was, we're going to lose you if you get too good. We don't want you to be that good. Terrible reasoning, especially to try to say that to somebody. But here we are finally getting that progress. They're no longer as concerned about that as they once were. And therefore, we're getting better as a coach. Speaking of, as a coach, here's where we stand now after all these seasons. Remember, it's 2031. This went back to FM23, and we started as the worst manager possible. We had nothing. We were blanks in our attributes. Now, determination is a 16. Player knowledge, youngster knowledge is still, same with the discipline, but people management's up to a 12 and motivating's up to a 16. Our talks, pregame, halftime talks, work pretty well. As for the coaching side of it, it's getting acceptable, but it's still not good. We have nothing higher than a 10. We still have some 1s in goalkeeping, even though we literally coached everything. We had no staff in the earliest seasons. We did it alone. But when you're stretched thin, training everything for an amateur side, apparently you can't coach well, which is entirely false. I coach 4 seasons. I coach all 4 sports seasons for school. 3 of those 4, I might have assistant coaches, but they are coaching the junior varsity teams. I coach the varsity team alone, without assistance, except for when we combine the whole teams together or like during tryouts. But I coach alone. I had practice earlier today with my varsity boys basketball team. I don't have assistant coaches beside me. I can handle it. Okay, fine. It's got 10 players, not 20. But, oh no! Right? It doesn't make sense that you can't get better because you have to coach many categories. I get that you're not going to get better as well as if you focused on a single category. Yes, there's a correlation there. Anyway, We've now managed 196 times. I know the top lines are behind the face cam. I'm not going to bother moving it. I'll read it to you. 196 matches played as manager. We've been on vacation a lot. The simulate one, the quick simulation, that still counts as games managed. 196 all time. We've scored 444 goals. We've given up 166, less than a goal per match. We've won 133 of those 196. We've drawn 30 times and lost 33. Goal differential is plus 278, so more than a goal per game, per match. Overall win percentage, 67%, right above that 2 out of 3. I like that part. We did finally get extensive knowledge of England. I think that did take a while to get. On the characteristics side, despite the vacation time, we still have a healthy hands-on approach. Very healthy ratings in most areas except for the media handling, which I do very little of handling that. And that overall reputation, it's up to 50% in some whatever general comparison. The behind-the-scenes progression of the club currently, and we have not gotten... We've already gotten a partial for winning the title reputation boost. There's a secondary, smaller reputation boost, or at least depending on the level, smaller reputation boost in promoting to League 2 that we will get when you officially transfer dates and they really place us in there. It kind of splits up how you get that reputation boost. But from a 1 out of 10,000, the club is now at 2,682. So a quarter of the way to a maximum reputation. Nobody has a maximum reputation. A PSG, a Barcelona, a Bayern Munich, a Man City, a Liverpool. Like, no matter who, no one has a 10,000 reputation. In fact, I think the highest reputations are in the mid-8s. So we've done well there, and we've certainly caught up to the level we were at, but we're still at the bottom end of the National League in terms of reputation. When we started this year, this will bump us up to maybe the higher end of National League, maybe the bottom end of League 2, maybe not. We'll find out. Our morale is high. Club attendance is good, especially when it started at 1,000. Getting 3,000 people per game is not too bad for our level. Not bad at all. Of course, we're still at Bickland Park for now, but that will change. Our own stadium is starting its construction. But this is the one to keep the eye on, and that is those facilities. We, of course, have the perfect youth, junior, and youth recruitment. That triple 20, that's been the premise of the series throughout and has remained. But the training facilities, over time, have gone from a 1 to a 12. And we made another progression with that this year. And next year, if we have the funds for it, I think we'll absolutely aim to see if we can't get the next level on that, especially now that we'll be in the league. Corporate facilities are low at just 5. As for who matters, that's worn the shirt, the legends, Brody Bick, Ashley Jones, and myself. I have been promoted to a legend from an icon after winning this latest title. The icons are Donnell Traynor, surprising, I don't think he was with us that long, and Adekunle. And then our favored personnel, Redknapp, Lanahan Penn-Reese, Schmizek, and Ryan Gordon. So 3 of our current players make this list. Remember, that's Ashley Jones, not Archie. Don't confuse the two. Our estimated value has gone up by another $1 million or so, and over the last couple of years, up by another like $6 million. I think we were previously at 34, so we're now at 40 million estimated value. Looking pretty good on that front. Finances just okay these days, and slowly dwindling as we move up. Hopefully, they'll charge a little bit more for butts in seats, and we'll continue to see that. By playing in League 2, we'll see the average attendance go up a bit more this next season. It'd be nice if we could top 3K. If that's the case, it could definitely help us maintain the balance, because we slowly lost money this year. and that, current season profit loss has only gotten worse. But again, that's funding a stadium, and that's funding a new training facility. All in all, we spent a load of money, but in terms of the daily balance, it took the slightest of negative throughout the year. So we did lose a little bit of money. So an increased attendance could certainly help, but we're going to have increased salaries. So we are kind of hitting a break point where we're not really making money. But with the new stadium and without the rental fee, and hopefully with the stadium being at home and not an hour and a half away, that will make a big difference on having people come out and see us. How funny that I literally hit the continue button and the first thing that pops up is changes to the stadium ticket prices. Average ticket price going up by 15% from $22 to $25. That will generate additional revenue. Average season ticket price also going up by $30, with the projected yearly earnings, with the combination of the two, going up by $500,000. That's the kind of difference I think that would equalize our debt to income ratio this year that was slightly negative. I think that $500,000 would absolutely cover that off. However, salaries are going to go up as we go into League Two, and possibly by more. So we may not be in a worse position, but with the projected yearly earnings going up by $500,000, that's $500,000 better off. And again, like I said, that's going to make a huge dent, if not cover it all. As the U21 season draws to a close, our U21s did pretty okay this year. It was still third from bottom, 9th of 11. However, in the 20 matches that they played, they won 7 and drew 2, scored 23 points. They're 5 points off of a playoff zone in a league that's full of championship and or Premier League sides. So for that, this is good. This is good. They've really come a long ways from where we were. As for the 18s, they also did well. 8 wins, 5 draws out of 18 matches played, finishing 4th in the league. 1 point out of 3rd, and just 6 points from a, whatever this would be qualifying for. Playoffs? I don't know. I guess that would be a semifinal and a final to be champion. Team best 11. Our back 4 contain the entirety of the back line, both of our defensive mids as well, and Lanahan Penreese, who's played on either side. That's pretty impressive that 7 of 11 do come from our current squad, including substitutes of Sam Julian, Chris Webb, who's never been a regular starter. I mean, that's amazing for him to be right there as a backup. Quintafera, Adekunle makes the list, Thornhill makes the list, and Paul Davidson. So we add in 5 current players with the 7 here. So 12 guys on the list. Definitely shows that we've been able to hang on to players much better than in the past. Adekunle's 18 assists was a National League record, beating the previous record of 16 set back in 2026. And it was not Lanahan Penreese, but the goal scorer Paul Davidson has won the League Player of the Season award. 28 goals in 35 appearances. I think he had something like 36 in all competitions. He also added 5 assists, though not much of a passer. And not the greatest rating, but he finishes, and others have not finished particularly well. 15 of the managers voted for him. He definitely had a majority. He didn't have the golden boot by much, actually. Wareham had just 2 goals fewer. Probably played more matches, though. 35 is a bit low. Davidson definitely missed some time. Looks like I've taken just a little bit too much vacation once again this year, and I rule myself out of the competition. Yeah, I'm not even listed. I was a little sneakier with my contracts this year and put a lot of 1-year contract extensions after gaining promotion to players. And look how many we've got back, including key guys Adekunle and Archie Jones. Some of our season stats. Expected goals against per game was 0.99. So round that off. 1 goal per game. That was best in the league. Conceded was less, so we held below the XG. Shutouts was 17. That was also top of the league. Dribbles per game, surprisingly, not something that I do regularly except for out on the wing, 13.71. Goals per game, second in the league. We did not lead the way in that one, but 2.23. Definitely a bounce back from a weaker previous season. Pass completion ratio was also second at 88%. Average possession was fourth at 59%, even though we are committed to a control ball style. But set piece goals scored was fourth, with 17 of them this year. Hassel did have 7 goals, corner kicks, a lot of them. It's just they were, I think 6 of them were in the first 12 to 15 games of the season. He only had 1 the last 30. So really just dropped off into nothingness at some point in the season. That was where it was like, gosh, you forget. It was like we scored loads of goals last year. No, that was this year. It was just the beginning of the year. Well, we're headed to League Two, and we're going to see Martin Schmizek there in the coming year, presumably, unless he gets transferred. We've actually eclipsed Schmizek. He was such a big player, but he's really stalled at Swindon. He has not developed anywhere near as well, and Kitching and Hassel have actually outdeveloped him, though he apparently is still above Chris Webb. I didn't even know this was possible in FM24. It's never been possible before, to my understanding. But Chukwudi Dennis, one of our still in academy, not yet graduate, would have been in our next class, 10 months from now, has been poached by Swindon. Literally a team just talked about seconds ago. They've poached him away. There are clauses as part of that deal. For his 10th game, we're going to get roughly $6,000 for each of his 10 games up to 7 times. That's an okay little chunk of change, and I have no idea how good Chukwudi Dennis actually would have been center back. It looks like 2.5-star potential, but was that actual? It's grayed out. Is that still just because it's unknown youth, or are we talking about low-level potential? Hard to say, but either way, surprise, surprise, there is the ability to poach players, apparently. There's a blast from the past. Ethan McLaren, now at Chelsea, playing striker for them. 9 goals in 10 appearances in the Europa League to be the Golden Boot winner. By the way, the final for this year's Europa League came down to Brighton losing to Chelsea in extra time. Champions League final is going to be between Arsenal and Real Madrid. Speaking of Arsenal, who beat us in the later stages of the FA Cup, they've been having a heck of a season. They're still second in the Premier Division, but they are headed for the FA Cup final. They're headed for the Champions League final. They've done quite well for themselves, outside of, they're going to finish second in the Premier League this year. They're 5 points behind. It's already decided. Contracts are nearly dealt with for the coming year when it comes to staff. There was only one position that was ready for a significant upgrade. Everything else was status quo. We couldn't find better. That was our sports scientist, just a 13 overall. I was able to find a 16 and a 15 that were willing to sign for us, and both of them had their clubs re-offer them a significantly better contract, and they both opted to stay, and they were the only two that were better that I was able to find. So we're going to have to stick with Taberner for another year, but otherwise everybody else staying on board for an additional year, with one exception, and that is something we couldn't get last year, but now that we're heading into the football league, we were able to get accepted, and that is an additional coaching slot specifically for a set-piece coach. New club rankings are out with Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, Chelsea, Man United at the top, and Newcastle United, the final one with Worldwide, so Big 7 it is. Norwich, who just picked up promotion, supposedly. I haven't seen what the final tally was, but with a few games to go, it looked like they were going to get it. top championship side. Top League 1 side is Stoke City. Top League 2 side and first 2-star only is Carlisle, along with Notts County just below them. Then you start to get a few more League 1 sides before we hit the first National League side in Mansfield, who we played right at the end of the season. Fleetwood, Walsall, Cheltenham, all on the list ahead of us. And the final 2-star team is Sutton, getting us down into National League, and even Morecambe, a National League North side ahead of us. This is how low we are. We're still, even with the rise in reputation, significant rise in reputation this last season, we are still way, way down as the final 1-star team. The final. To get to 1.5 stars, we are right there. We are right on the edge of that. There's the 1.5 star groups. Lose. National League South team has a better reputation than us. Went from a 1-star to a 1.5. Something we weren't able to do. The breakpoint for regional, not far from now. Dorking have that. So we're definitely moving up of the National League sides. Dover, who just got relegated, are below us. And Macclesfield are below us. That's it. So the division we just left behind, we have finally reached the group. Just exceeded the very, very, very bottom end of that group. But we haven't even eclipsed the remainder of the tier below that, which is now 2 tiers below where we are. To see, like Morecambe that far above us, that sucks on the reputation side, and we are entering League 2. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, there's a secondary bump, and then as soon as you start playing, as long as you're not relegation zone, if you're performing upper portion of the league, being in the football league for the teams, for the first time in team's history, will boost the reputation. And if we are in the playoff zone or better, then we will easily see this reputation rise into that regional category in this coming season. But we're still a 1-star local team for now. But we're about to be a 1.5 star local team. We're about to be a 1.5 star regional team. We're about to be a 2-star regional team. We're at that point where things begin to take off much faster. And you can see how League 2, like just being in League 2, is enough for 2-star kind of reputation. Therefore, that league reputation, the reputation of our opponents, should see us get a fairly healthy boost this season to pick us up. But we just lag behind, and that's where we can't get the better and better staff, as we just lack that reputation. It doesn't matter too much for the intake side. It matters a little. What we have, there is a reputation thing. It is a form of tiebreaker on who's going to get what player, but it's a tiebreaker that's not going to impact us until we get to maybe the championship, but definitely Premier League. And here's why. From my understanding, from other content that I've seen over the years, from other tests that have been done, especially with big channels that have access to servers and get 100 playthroughs of something and see how it goes, versus running a single simulation and going, well, it turned out this way in my simulation, therefore. Anyway, from my understanding, and I have fairly extensive notes on this, from my understanding, the reputation does matter on the youth intake. However, the league reputation is a bigger factor. We have the perfect facilities. We have access to very good players. But because our league reputation and then team reputation is at such a level, we're never going to get the same players as the others that have the amazing facilities. Now, as they drop off and don't have perfect facilities, and you drop down to just, they have okay facilities, all of a sudden we can start to eclipse those and get better than those. But when it comes to the head-to-head, if somebody else has perfect facilities, they are always going to get the odds-on better players. Until we get to same level as those foes, until we get to that same level as a Chelsea, as a Liverpool, as a Man City, and have those perfect or near perfect facilities, and at the same level, same tier, okay, now we have access to the same group of players. Now, head to head, who has the reputation? Oh, well, not Youth Factory FC. Therefore, the others still have the odds-on favorite. That's where it's going to matter, and that's where it's going to hurt. But at the same time, we're into that level, and so we've bumped ourselves up the list anyway, and we're going to have better access to better players. But that's when that reputation is going to finally matter. For now, we have leaps and bounds better facilities, youth-wise, than anybody in the National League or anybody in League Two. And so, compared to them, we're always going to get the best players, regardless of the reputation piece, because we're so far ahead when it comes to the facility side. There's other factors, head of youth development, so on and so forth, that are all going to play into that. The nation, quality of youth within the nation that the nation's putting out. There's many, many, many variables. That reputation one's just not going to hurt us until we're in the Premier League and going head to head with those clubs for the best youth. My goal for the coming season, not only to get that 1.5 star, get that extra half star, but I'd love to see us jump at least into the regional area and, get somewhere up here around Yeovil, Harrogate. Yeovil won the promotion playoffs, by the way, so they are promoting with us. So it was not Kidderminster. So if we can get up to a Kidderminster level over the next year, that's the kind of bump that I'd be okay with. Even if we don't promote. If we do promote, hopefully we could jump all the way to 2 stars, but don't necessarily see that coming just yet. For one thing, now that we're in the Football League, and now that there is a higher reputation, the bump, division by division, is greater. So the reputation boost that comes with performing level by level becomes greater and greater and greater than the very small incremental gains that we've had in past seasons. Okay, I'm already starting to run low on time for this episode, and it's still just June. I don't think we're going to start the new season, but damn it, I do not want to be waiting until the end of the next episode to be starting the new season. So let's try to push forward a bit into the new year. Very unexpected plot twist as we enter the new season, and more just keeps happening. For one, I have a feeling Wilkinson's going to be the first player gone this summer and will almost certainly be gone. Sam Julian on the verge, as well as the offers are coming in thick, fast, and getting better and better by the day. And it's not even July. So a strong feeling that at least those two could very well be gone. But that's not what we're looking at right now. What we're looking at is Coventry. Coventry City, who are 6th in the Sky Bet Championship. No, they're not 6th. It's off-season. They were just 19th this last season. Barely staved off relegation. But with a string of 7ths and 8ths over the previous 4 years and a long run in the championship, which, considering how things went in real life not so long ago, I mean, just back in the 17-18 season, they were rubber banding their way out of League Two back into League One. And then just, 2 years later, up to the championship, where they've now been steadily throughout. Why are we talking about Coventry City, who are led by Jordan Pickford? Yes, Pickford is the head coach of Coventry these days. Okay, well, what's the purpose here? A partnership between the two of us. Will it amount to anything? We can't do transfers. But can they follow through with this deal and loan anybody they want to send to us? Now, my theory is those players aren't going to be good enough if they send anybody down to us going, it's League 2. Let's send a almost League 2 caliber player to a team that just got promoted and go, yeah, that's going to help them. An almost League 2 caliber youngster. Sure, it's going to help us because we're in the championship. It'll help them develop to be League 2 caliber over the course of my players are already that. Actually, I do have a couple positions that are a weakness that maybe, if they do loan us, could be of help. Didn't expect this, but here it is. We're getting an annual fee of $35,000. That's damn near nothing. And we could keep full gate receipts. I suppose we'll have to do that. Bring them in and collect a healthy fee in the preseason every year. That might be all we get out of it. Or will we get players? I guess we'll find out. Now that we're in the Football League, new rules are going to apply. We're going to have to register a squad. We're going to have to register numbers. We're going to have to keep up with FFP. And a number of our guys are no longer U21. But overall, our squad is still very young. So there's going to be a number of young players around where I think we're going to have an easy time. Maybe. I would think we'll have an easy time registering a squad and still having space. Well, this is a big deal. Ethan McLaren is leaving Chelsea and going to PSG for $177 million. Subject to conditions, $186 million. Holy crap. And as the team that brought him up through the youth ranks, this is now his 5th home, by the way, we get 1.5% of that deal, which that's $2.65 million. That's how big that deal is. 1.5%, and we're still getting upwards of $3 million. He's also getting a massive salary of $18.75 million. Oh my. Oh my, oh my. Arsenal, who knocked us out in the round of 16, has also won the FA Cup. Well, this is a concern. This is a big concern going into the new season. Overall, our salaries are not that high. But for whatever reason, our income does not match in a sense that our FFP maximum allowed salary is $2.2 million a year. Right now, with the promotion bonuses and everything, we're at $3.7 million. We are not even anywhere near remotely close. We've got a lot of shedding to do of salary. We're going to have to let players go. And under 21 homegrown players are excluded from the check. That's a majority of our team. I'm not sure how we are this far above, but we are this far above. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. We're talking about a 3-year period with allowable deficits. However, the Premier League rules are different than the league. Am I wrong on that one? I think we really do just have a maximum allowed and we can't exceed it. Period. For the period. The end of the month in 5 days? Is that the end of our period? Are we going to get penalized instantly for that one? That would be really harsh if that's the case. What we have here, though, looking at our salaries on down, our 16-year-olds not hurting us. Marvin Primus is hurting us a little bit. Maxwell Grigg is about to leave the club, so that's going to save us a little bit. But Jonathan Healy's leaving. That's $30,000. Finn Coots is leaving. Kasungo Matumbo is going to be leaving. That does help us shed salary. However, 8 players make up the vast majority of this. McFadden, Webb, Thornhill, Redknapp, Atkins on a huge salary, along with Lanahan, Penrys, and Moreland. They are the ones that are drastically hurting us and launching us into the stratosphere of FFP complications. but we need to shed 1.5 million. That's letting go of Atkins, Lanahan, Penrese, and Moreland. Or Kitching. I'd be okay letting go of like Thornhill and Redknapp. That's a third of what we would need to let go. McFadden, it would be one to let go. McFadden and Redknapp just have never been good enough. But we would drop in quality letting those two go. Thornhill I can let go because he's a backup. I would let Webb go, but why would I want to? If anything, you gotta let you have no choice and let Kitching go and let Webb take over. What the heck? And why is our mark so low? Because I bet you, let's go ahead and check it out. Let's compare us to the rest of the league. We're into the new year, so we should be showing up in League 2 now. It's preseason. There is no team stats, so I can't look at it that way. But the average salary in the league is $82,000 per year per player, with a squad size of like 20. So 1.6 million does leave us a little high, doesn't it? Looks like we might be shedding some weight and heading for an interesting time. That leaves me a lot to consider. Let me know in the comments below if the League 2 rules are going to be immediate or if we have 3-year rolling, because we could take a loss if we're going to get promotion, but we're going to really have to do something about our 3 guys that have very, very high wages. Something's going to have to give in that regard, which means we're probably going to end up having to sell those players sooner rather than later and replace them, and that'll shed salary. Even if we do get promotion, it looks like we're going to still have to shed salary. So, yikes. Oh my, oh my, oh my. At least we'll have some money incoming, but yeah, this was completely unexpected. Youngest player in the league is our Daniel McCartney, by the way. Ollie Atkins is the league's highest earner at $615K, and that is our problem. Big time cliffhanger to leave this on, with the worry of FFP and just how far over we are. 1.5 million to shed is a lot of salary to dump. There's the obvious choice of 4 players who make the most. I think in theory, I need to let 2 of those go and keep 2. So hard decision to make on who to let go and who to hang on to. But in theory, I think Kitching's going to be the first player because Chris Webb's right behind him, making $550,000 less. Then I'm going to need Thornhill and either McFadden or Redknapp to let go. Kamara can start, so we've got Kamara. So McFadden on the left to let them go. This is about age, and we're going to have a whole lot of players. These are the over 21s. The under 21s are exempt. That's great. That's fantastic. Adekunle, we've got some time left. We've got a couple years left on him. Paul Davidson, we have a few years left on him. The maximum allowed also has to do with income. Is that going to change as we make more money in the coming year, allowing us to hang on to players a little bit better? But we're going to have to start watching salary much more so than before, even after we deal with this situation. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.